Hey there everyone, and welcome to another video from the Retro Game Planet. Today I'm going to have a look at Junglejoe, a newer Commodore 64 game released in August 2022 from Vector 5 Games. This is a puzzle adventure game where essentially you need to try and find a way to the exit of each level. There's going to be enemies and hazards along the way, and lots of brain scratching as you try and work out how, using limited ladder resources, you get to the end of each level. There's also going to be idols that you need to collect, which don't stop you from completing the levels, but you won't be able to complete the game if you don't collect enough idols across the course of the game. It's set over 3 themes. You've got jungle levels, then you move on to cave levels, and finally on to temple. And I'm going to show you a level from each of them so you get a feel of all the different themes on the game. But it's a ton of fun. Let's get straight in and have a look at the first theme, which is jungle. Okay, here we go then. So the general premise is that the level is going to be set over 3 screens, and the first exit is in the top right. So I'm going to find my way over to the top right hand side where that brown arrow is. Well, just looking at the bottom, I've got 5 lives. I've currently got 6 segments of ladder, and I'll show you how that works in a second. The yellow dot indicates what sort of screen you're on as part of the level. So I'm on the first part of 3 in this level, and obviously finally you've got your score. Now, just looking at your character here, that might look very familiar for fans of Rick Dangerous. Now, I don't know whether it's a deliberate sort of ploy to have the character to look a bit like the Rick Dangerous character, but it's definitely, I feel been inspired based on that, so that's cool. So I've got 6 pieces of ladder at the moment, so every part of ladder you collect gives you an extra 3. How it works basically is you build up, you use segments of that ladder, so you need to consider what the best use of that ladder is to make sure you don't run out. If you run out, you're not going to be able to finish the level. And then one last thing on this screen, you've got these bridges that are going to dissolve, so you need to think about that wisely in terms of when is the right time, if at all, to dissolve a bridge, as you might find that dissolving the bridge means you can't finish a level. Okay, so moving on to the second screen, the only difference on here, well, there's 2 differences actually, is that to get to the exit gate just to the right of me now, there's a purple and blue sort of barrier or gate that's in the way, and usually there's a switch on each level and a boulder. So essentially what you need to do is guide the boulder to the switch, and on this early level it's fairly straightforward to do so. There's also an idol you'll see there, which is that yellow ornament in the top right hand corner. And that's what I said, you can actually I could just go and finish this level now and not collect that idol, but the challenge you've got there is if you don't do that, then eventually at the end of the game you're going to find yourself not being able to complete it. As you can see there, I've got a sword or a sharp object that you can kill the enemies with. So I'm going to collect my first idol and get that done. But again, you've got to plan this because at the moment it's quite straightforward. You know, I've got 12 parts of a ladder, plenty to go and get that idol. But sometimes you might think, well, I'm going to miss that one because I've not got enough portions of ladder left. Okay, so I'm on the final part now. There's some bush from the jungle in the way that I need to chop through. Now this one here, you've got to switch down the bottom here. So let's just kill that snake. And these boulders, what they can do is they can go down or fall down a ladder, but you don't want to get them trapped. There are going to be levels where, if you're not careful what you do with that boulder, you're going to lose the boulder and then not be able to complete the level. Okay, so here, as you can see, what I can't do is I can't go through that tree and I can't chop it down. So I'm going to have to find my way across. I'm just going to kill this snake. And then I'm going to use this boulder to open that final gate. And that is going to allow me to complete the first jungle level. And then final thing there, so you'll see if you collect your idols, you get your bonus points and it gives you a count of how many idols you've got. And I think you're going to need about 20 towards the end to be able to complete the game. And the last thing there is you get a level code. So if I want to start at level 1.2, which will be the next jungle phase, then I just enter that code at the beginning. So that's good if you don't want to start all over again. Well, let's move forward now and have a look at one of the cave levels, which is the second theme of the game. Okay, here we go then. So level 2.1, and it's the cave. So as you can see, we've got this sort of blue rock and that's got that cold cave type feel to it. And I've also got some wonderful candle lights here, some flame candles, which look great. So let's move on. So we've got sort of 2 gates here, one to get to the idol and one to get to the exit. So let's see which one this does first. Let's open the top gate. Now I've only got 6 parts of ladder here, so whether I can get myself the idol, we'll see shortly. But essentially what I've got to do is push this rock over on that button, which is going to open that gate, and then find my way across. Now you can kill these spiders that come across as well. There we go, let's get this snake out of the way and get the idol. Unfortunately, there was some ladder parts down there as well, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get myself back. But at the moment I'm making it look quite straightforward, and I can believe me, it's not straightforward. Once you get onto levels for the first time, or even segments of these levels, you've really got to think your way around it. And whilst I'm making it look easy on this video, I've been stuck on these levels before by running out of portions of ladder. So it just takes a bit of practice, and it's really addictive. It's a really fun game to play. As always, I'm going to leave the details so you can get hold of a copy yourself in the video description. Well, let's continue on here. So again, like, I'm working through this quite quickly because I've kind of done it before, so I know what I'm doing. But right, here we go. So I've got my path almost to the exit, but we want to get to that idol, don't we? Now that gate is closed there, and what I've done there, as you can see, is I've lost my boulder. So I pushed my boulder down, which is great because it got rid of the spikes for me, but now it's trapped, so I can't do anything. So I'm going to have to miss that idol and just go straight to the exit. But ideally what I wanted to do was to essentially build a ledge, which I could push the boulder across, and then I'll be able to push it over here to that button. Let's move on to the final screen. And complete one of the cave levels. Don't forget to smash like if you want to see more newer Commodore 64 games on the channel, and please help me by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing. Okay, now this bit is really tricky, and it took me a long time to figure out what the best plan of attack is on here, and I'll tell you for why. So we've got this boulder below us, and if I move that to the right hand side, it's going to get stuck on that candle flame. But I need to get it to the left, and you've got the snake in the way, and as you can see, there's not a lot of room, so you've got to be really quick on this one to kill that snake. So let me see if I can do it in one go. So a little tactic that I learned is if you build that little ladder, it can't get to you, and then it just gives you time to face the right way and get ready to swipe it with your sword. So remember, it's going to be fire and the direction of travel. Here we go. Got it. Okay. So now if I push that boulder that way, it's going to basically end the level for me. And I've only got a certain amount of ladder left. So what I want to be doing is going around that way. Literally got one portion of ladder to spare, but there's no idols. So I'm just going to complete that cave level, and then we can move forward and look at the final theme, which is temple. Okay, so before I do that, I've only got one idol at the moment, as I've just been missing them just to move forward, and there is the level code for 2.2 if anybody wants to jump forward that's not played the game yet. But let's move forward now and have a look at temple. Okay, here we go then. So we're on to the final levels of Jungle Joe, and it's the temple theme. And look at it, it looks absolutely fantastic. It definitely has got that temple kind of feel to it. But essentially what we need to do on this level, very similar to the other themes, we've got some boulders in, some switches, and only from the fact that I've played this a couple of times now, I know that you're going to need essentially to get this first bolt. Well, you're actually going to have to get both buttons on this one to complete the level, but you need to do this absolutely spot on because you've only just got enough ladder pieces, so you really need to make sure that you don't leave yourself without enough ladder to get yourself around. So I've created my path towards the exit, but what do you really need to do? You've got to get this last boulder, otherwise you're not going to be able to get through. So that completes that part. There we go, just enough, see? So I've only got enough now to go and finish it. So you can't get that piece of ladder really in the top right. Well, that's the first segment done. Now on this one, there is a bit of a trick to it, because actually, and only through trying this level 4 or 5 times, I know that you do not need to get the middle switch, or the second switch of the 3 if you look from left to right. So again, you're going to work it out as you play. So I'm only playing this fast because I've done this a number of times now. But essentially, what you're looking to do is get the first boulder, and then you can open the first gate, and that then allows you to go across the bottom here. I'll work my way across. Now, what I want to do here, I'm going to try and get the shortest route. Now, there's more pieces of ladder on this side, so it's worth getting that piece. And then that's going to allow me to do the second button, which gives me my route to the exit. Now on this one, I've got 16 portions of ladder left, so I'm definitely going to go and get the idol. And then I'm going to move my way over to the exit, and then on to the final part of the first temple level and today's video. Now again, there's another trick to this one. So I'm going to get these 2 pieces, and then I'm going to drop myself down. And what you want to do is you can use one boulder to create a path. Push that boulder to the right, which will get you the first button. Get the bat out of the way. And then when you push that boulder down, you can actually move it then over and onto the switch. And what that's done is it's opened the middle gate for me. Now, there's also an idol to collect here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that for the time being. I'm going to go this way. I need to kill this snake basically. I've got plenty of ladder parts. That'll be no good if I don't kill the snake. So what I really need to do here is create a path for this boulder. Now, you've got to do it a certain way because you need a path. Now, if I'd have gone up here to the right of me, then the boulder would have just fallen to the bottom and I wouldn't have been able to push it. Let's just get rid of this enemy. So now what that allows me to do is open the final door. Now I've got 10 pieces left, so I'm definitely going to be getting the idol because there's an extra piece of ladder and then across, and that's going to finish the first level of the temple theme. And that also concludes today's video of Jungle Joe, which is an absolutely awesome game. So as I say, I'm going to leave the details in the video description. I absolutely think this game is brilliant, so hats off to everyone involved in putting this game together. It's definitely one of the more fun, enjoyable games that I've played recently. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.